Welcome to Kentucky Football Nation. Well, let's talk about Vince Merrill. We're going to do one video on it, and then that's it because there's no reason to keep talking about it because he's gone. But believe me, I did some research, as I told you guys on my real short video. You know, I listened to Nick Roush. I listened to Matt Jones. Heck, Vince Merrill was on the phone with him while he was doing his show. Now, they didn't have him on talking about football, which they shouldn't have because he hadn't even been on a Louisville show. And I'll tell you what I did for you guys. I went and watched the SEC, all the SEC podcasts, so you didn't have to, and the national. So you don't have to do that, okay? Believe me, I lose IQ points every time I watch some SEC podcasts. Look, one thing for you guys who don't have YouTube channels, got to remember. These guys have to have I think you have to have 4,000 hours in 12 months to get your videos monetized. So you need to put videos out all the time. So people are going to be putting videos out on this that don't even know anything. I mean, I like Aaron Torres, a basketball guy. He put a video out about Vince Merrill. He didn't know anything about Vince Merrill. He's just getting content out so they can make money. So a lot of people are just putting stuff out just to yak, to get you to click on it. So you'll watch it. They get a view. They make money. They don't care anything about what's really happening. So just keep that in mind when you watch some of these people. Well, let's start off about what happened, because evidently, leaving, 80 days out was not something that usually happens. You're going to leave the football team 80 days out. So something went down. Nobody's really going to tell you what happened, but I just have some clues, and let's go over some clues here. Okay, first of all, Jeff Brom and Vince Merrill played together in the XFL. So they've known each other for a long time. And he tried to get him, when he was at Purdue, he tried to get him to come. So a lot of people have been trying to get Vince Merrill to come, okay? So they have a relationship with one another, and they're friends. Now, Vince Merrill gets to be the GM there. He's not going to be recruiting. So just keep that in mind, okay? It's not like he's going to go there. He's going to go there. He's going to run the football program. As I've said many times, and we're going to talk about this more, you can't just have a football coach, okay? Are you John Summerall people? Which I'm going to have to do a video on John Summerall. I look at his record and I go, that the dude lost to Army. He lost to Florida. I see nothing. Troy, I mean, come on. See Neil Brown, okay? Neil Brown did this. How well did he do at West Virginia? Not good. They kept him longer than they should have. So look, I don't want to judge John Summerall. So I am going to do a video on him because I got to dive into him because that's all I ever hear is John Summerall, John Summerall. Listen. If you don't know how to do NIL and you don't have a GM, it doesn't matter. You can bring any coach in here. We can bring Bear Bryant back from the dead, and it isn't going to matter. Nick Saban, it's not going to cut. If he does, with our money and our situation, it's just you can't just bring anybody in here. But I digress. So evidently, at the end of the season, they had a staff meeting. It was a come to Jesus staff meeting, is what Nick Roush and those guys were talking about. I guess it was in December. And they took some of Vince Merrill's recruiting duties away from him. Because before, if you remember, he was the lead recruiter. Whoever he said get, we would get that person. Now, once again, now that there's a portal, we don't have to get all high school players. So they took away some of his power. They wanted, like, if you're the defensive coach, any of the defensive coaches, don't you want to pick your players? If you're Bush Hamden and there's a quarterback, do you want Vince Merrill to pick your quarterback, or do you want to have some say in it? I think what Mark Stoops wanted was a go around the table NFL style. Like, which guy do you think we should get? Which guy do you think we should get? Well, if you're, like I said, Bush Hamden, it's an offensive player, you kind of want to say in it. Whereas Vince always had to say in it. Now, I just think they sort of took that away and go, let's have a more democratic approach to who we get, okay? I'm not saying this is, once again, all these things I'm going to tell you, I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just trying to tell you what happened here. So in the Come to Jesus meeting, they decided to divide up the recruiting decisions, which I can't, look, things have to change. As I said in my short video, look, guys, this guy leaving might be a good thing. I'm not saying it is. It might. Things had to change. You have to change it up. It's the only shot we have of getting the football program back. You can't keep doing the same thing. So if Vince Merrill wants to leave, let him go. Me personally, it doesn't bother me. Is he the only guy that can recruit? No, Eddie Grant can recruit. But so anyway, whatever happened at this meeting, it didn't go well. But he didn't leave in January. If you remember, there were rumors he was going to leave in January, and Louisville had approached him in January. And I could understand if he left then, but he decided to stay. So I guess Merrill felt betrayed, that he couldn't be the recruiter. Look, everybody has an ego. He had been the man for so long, and look, he's a smart guy. I'm not saying we, shouldn't let him pick the recruits, but whatever was going on, we have to change course because whatever we're doing, you're going in one direction and it's the wrong direction. You got to change course. So I sort of agree that it should be democratic. If the defensive coordinator, Brad White, is going to get a defensive player, him and his staff should have some say in who it's going to be. If you're picking a linebacker out of high school, do you want the linebacking coach to have a say in it? I mean, yeah, I agree with that. As I said in prior video, we have 50 people on staff for the football team. Go on Kentucky Athletics, look at all the coaches and people that are involved in the football team. Assistants to you got to run it like an NFL team, like a baseball team. There's got to be a general manager. There's got to be scouts, recruiters. It's got to be a lot of people involved. It can't just be one person. So no, I don't disagree with what Mark Stoops is doing. Let me just say that. Then Vince Merrill wanted to keep recruiting in Ohio and not go after in-state players. And I think there was a push that, hey, we need to get more in-state players because that's what people who pay money want to see. They want to see Kentucky in-state players. So I think that was a little bit of they were talking about that. He wanted to recruit Ohio, Pennsylvania, more heavily, and he was told no. Now that's the rumor. I don't know if that's true. Okay, now this one thing right here is why I'm not upset that he left. They keep saying, all the Kentucky people say, he was the go-between for the players. If there were any locker room issues or anything between the players, he would be the go-to person, I guess, to Mark Stoops or whoever, or try to solve problems in the locker room. Well, how did that work out the last couple of years? Awful. The locker room was toxic. People demanding more money. Barry Brown. Only thing Barry Brown was worried about is going to the NFL, and he wasn't getting enough catches. So now he's in there bitching and complaining. I guess Dan Key probably felt the same way. It becomes about these people trying to get to the NFL. Now we're getting into a John Calipari situation where we're just worried about getting people to the NBA. Now we're going to just worry about getting people to the NFL. It can't be like that. I understand that it's going to be like that because there's people, you buy a good enough player, he's worried about going to the NFL. But there has to be some people that's worried about the team. And last year, like I said, half the team just quit. To me, it looked like halfway through the season. But I digress. If he was a spokesperson, he did a really bad job. And, there's just people behaving and saying stuff on, they stopped a lot of stuff that was said online. Some tweets and stuff would get out and Matt Jones then would bring it up and all of a sudden it disappeared. So yeah, you knew it was bad last year. Now, ultimately, it's Mark Stoops' fault because you're the head coach. And if you saw that, you should have stopped it. So I'm not blaming Merrill, but I'm just saying Vince Merrill didn't just do such a great job, did he? Because the locker room was awful. If he was the go-between, and that's what's being said, he was the spokesperson for the players. Yeah, I don't know who the spokesperson for the coaches were when we're trying to win games, but I digress. This changes the UK U of L rivalry. Of course, Vince Merrill was on KSR. Well, he was talking to Matt Jones. Some guy gave him L's down and flipped him off at a donut bank, or at a Krispy Kreme or whatever. And, he got his first L's down. And it does change the rivalry. And look, let's use Rick Pitino as Rick Pitino said this before. Kentucky and Louisville is not the same thing. It's none of my business. You want to go there, but it's not Kentucky. I mean, Louisville people care, but they don't care like we do. So, yeah, I mean, am I going to hate the guy for going to Louisville? No, absolutely not. Now, am I going to root for him? No, I'm not going to root for him as long as he's in that position. Look, I think he's a great guy. He did a great job for us. We're going to thank him at the end. You have to give the guy his flowers and thank him for what he did. We would never built the team that we did without him. But I don't know that we can move forward. I think he got us to where we were, but I think to get to the next level, which a lot of people do not think we can do, we can't go any farther with him doing everything. It has to be a team effort. And recruiting, team effort, NIL, everything. So, it's not a good vibe for us right now. I went on some of these stupid SEC podcasts, and it's going to be worse. You already got us winning no game. How's it going to be worse? Once again, I go to these SEC podcasts. Now it's going to be, how can it be worse? You only had us winning 2 games. We just had his funeral last week. We already got him dead and buried, guys. Most people got him dead and buried. Yeah, I mean, this was a huge blow just from a vibe and just from looking from the inside as a fan. The average fan doesn't know what's going on with football. They can't tell you who our offensive linemen are, our quarterback, or anything else, or even what kind of offense or defense we run. They're just looking at, are we winning? Okay, so yeah, it's a bad look. It sucks that it was 80 days out. Now, one thing that hurts is I want to go back to the SEC meetings with Greg Sankey. During those meetings about 2 weeks ago, when they were talking about the settlement, House versus, now, when we say House, guys, keep this in mind. House is not the House of Representatives. House is the name of a college swimmer. I think he was a swimmer who was suing for name, image, likeness going back 10 years. So House is a person. Okay, so when they're divvying up this $20 million, the SEC wanted to put parameters on what each team could spend for basketball, what each team could spend for football and baseball. Of course, they wanted every team to spend more on football, obviously. Well, Mitch Barnhart stood up and said no. So, guys, that's telling you right there, we're going to spend money on basketball. We should spend money on basketball. I'm a football fan, but I'm not stupid. We're the winningest basketball program in the history of college basketball. I mean, UCLA has its own championships because of John Wooden won 10 in 14 years. Yeah, because back in the 60s, they paid players and yeah, they got Jabbar and Walton and all those people, and they won 10 in 14 years. They've won one since 1974, okay? We're the winningest college basketball team. So, yeah, we should, knock my mic over. We should concentrate on basketball. And I'm a football fan. But yeah, that's what we're known for. Now, that doesn't mean we should take away from football. There are a lot of fans that called up on these call-in shows and said, if they don't spend as much money on football as they spend on basketball, I'm out. Now, that's fair. And that's the way I feel. If you're going to spend X amount of dollars on basketball, let's say 5 million, whatever, 10 million, then spend $10 million on football because football is where the money's at. Okay. We got to be good in football too. Got to be respectable. Now, and one thing, look, and talking about Vince Merrill and Matt Jones brought this up. Barnhart and Stoops gave that guy anything he wanted. He was the highest paid tight ends coach in the history of college football. They gave him a raise. They threw money at him. They gave him everything he wanted. They just took a little bit of it. They took his power away, took his title away. They wanted it to be more of a team effort, and he didn't want to do that. But as far as money-wise, he's not making any more money going to Louisville. Or if he is, very little. We gave him anything. He was loved here. People loved him. Fans loved him. He could walk into any restaurant in Lexington and get mauled just as much as the coach. Now, that's his business why he wants to leave. But it wasn't over money. And, it was over control. So, and plus Louisville has a better chance to get to the playoffs in the ACC if he hangs around. Like if you made him GM of Kentucky instead of Eddie Grant, what's his chances of going to the playoffs? Well, probably not that good. But U of L, Louisville, and the ACC, you can build a roster there. And hell, if you don't lose 1 or 2 games, you can get to the playoffs. You lose 3 games in SEC, you're out. No matter what kind of system we're under. Because look, guys, as I said before in the Mark Stoops funeral, death of Mark Stoops, there's 16 teams in SEC. Okay, 13 of the 16 are ranked in the top 25 power rankings. So when you've got that deep of a conference where it's just you're not going to be able to lose 3 games and make the playoffs. So that's why they're trying to make it to where we get 4 automatics in the SEC. That's going to happen because you can't, if you're not going to go by strength of schedule, it doesn't do the SEC any good, the playoff. So they're going to have to fix that. What else do I want to bring up here? Our situation in football is similar to Tennessee's in basketball. I noticed Rick Barnes was, saying things in the offseason. I can't get the players I need because I can't get the money, the NIL money. No, because Tennessee needs football players. So Tennessee's going to put their money, and they basically told him in so many words, hey, dude, sorry. You're not going to – so Tennessee's not going to – they had a great team this year. Now, they did get 1 or 2 really good players. But are they going to be better than us? No, they're not. Rick Barnes is upset because, He's only going to coach so many more years, and he wants a chance to go to Final Four, which Tennessee's never been to a Final Four ever. So yeah, but they basically told him, sorry, dude, we need a backup tight end, or I don't know, we need football. So, but yes, we do need to make football a priority. I've been going 15 minutes here. Let's talk about Eddie Gran. I like Eddie Gran. Eddie Gran's been assistant coach. He's 60 years old. You go look at where he's been assistant coach and offensive coordinator in this. He's been to Auburn, Ole Miss, Tennessee. He's been in the SEC. That guy's smart, okay? I like him as our general manager. Maybe Vince Merrill's jealous that he's not the general manager, but him and Eddie Gran did not see eye to eye on recruiting. And look, I like Vince Merrill, but if you're going to go with Eddie Gran or Vince Merrill, I'm going to ride with Eddie Gran, because that guy's got experience. I mean, he was good as an offensive coordinator here, and he was good as offensive coordinator at Cincinnati. And, let's see how he does as GM. I think I've said everything there is to say, guys. Look, you could talk this subject to death. You can go ahead and go on all the SEC fine bombers, and they're going to say, look, they already had us dead. How the hell are you going to kill Mark Stoops twice now? We already weren't going to win any games in the SEC. He's already gone. Hey, he may be gone. But once again, you can't just bring somebody in that knows football. And like I said, by God, I am going to do a video on John Summerall. I'm deep dive. I'm going to look at this guy, everything he did. I looked at his record, and the guy lost to Army. I mean, he lost to Florida in a bowl. Now, if he turns it out this year and gets to the playoffs, that'll impress me. But so far, he's Neil Brown Jr. to me. Neil Brown light. Okay, so you won some games at Tulane, but you lost some games. You beat one ranked team. But anyway, guys, look, that's Vince Merrill. He's gone. He's not coming back. Me personally, I don't really care. I mean, I think the staff I have confidence in the staff we have right now. I hope now Mark Stoops does need to come out and say something. Partner, you got to come out and say something. Don't just wait till media days. I do agree with Matt Jones about that. Look, if there's a bunch of fans, before I get off here, when you go on these message boards and whenever I get comments from fans, there's a way you can go back and look at their YouTube screen name and look at the videos that they post and they watch. There's a way you can do that. So all these people are posting, I'm turning my season tickets. I go back and look at their profile. It's a Tennessee fan. It's not even Kentucky fans on there talking, guys. It's mostly damn Louisville and Tennessee fans and other people that don't even care, just trying to, stir up a hornet's nest. Look, it's not going to change anything. Vince Merrill, the games we win this year or lose, we're not going to be because of whether Vince Merrill's here this year or not. Now, in the future, it may, but not this year. So the only way we're going to do now is let's beat Louisville on the field and let's win some games on the field. Okay? How many games do we have to win? If we go to bowl, I think that's a good year. Anyway, guys, put your thoughts down in the comments. I appreciate you listening to me sitting here and yakking for 20 minutes. Like I said, I exhausted myself listening to way too many people. Don't go and listen to those other podcasts. It gets to be really, really stupid really, really quick. But if you are watching this video and you haven't subscribed to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. I have a shorts portion of my channel. I'll be doing other videos. Look, I know this might be the end of Mark Stoops. I get it. Look, we're going to go through football season. Let's have fun with it. Hell, I'm going to break down Tucker Gleason pretty soon. That'll be one of my next videos. Week 1 opponent, Toledo, because he's really good. He played Mississippi State. I break down the Mississippi State film, and we're going to do that next. And we're going to break down some more positions. I just did a wide receiver. I'm going to do some more running backs and wide receivers so we can watch film of these together. I think we got some good players. I think we improved our offensive line. I think we improved quarterback. Receivers, I don't know. We'll see. But I like the receivers we have. And I like the running backs we have. Our defense, Brad White says we're good to go. If Brad White says we're good to go, then we're good to go. What are you going to do? Right now, let's win some games on the field. Listen, guys, thanks for stopping by, and just wait for future videos.